Hi, I'm Melissa Mahalik with SomaticAnatomy.com. This is my lovely assistant, Napoleon Boney Parts, and we're going to talk about the spine today. I've heard a lot of you guys are super interested in postural issues, and so we're going to start out talking about that basic, that core, that center of posture, which is the spine. So let's talk spine parts today. We're going to get a little deeper later on. It's going to be super fun. Okay, so here we have Boney, and actually for a plastic skeleton, Boney's spinal curves are pretty decent. So you've got this little double S curve here. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that when your thoracic spine, your thorax, this chest part of the body, can come back, then you have room for important things like, oh, I don't know, a heart and some lungs. Those are pretty useful. Pretty much everybody with a skeleton has some sort of protection for the heart and the lungs, and they've got a little extra space in there for those, at least those of us who have lungs. We being humans and primates, have a little extra curve back here, one, because, you know, we humans, we just love the booty. And also, with more of a curve in the sacrum, that means those of us with female pelvises have the ability to let extra human beings out of our pelvis, because if you grow a human being in there and it can't get let out, you have problems. So curves are really, really useful. They don't just look good. So if, however, we had just a curve going back here and a big curve out here, our center of gravity would be all thrown off. So we've got these inward curves as well. So inward, outward, inward, outward. So we've got this four-part curve. A lot of times you'll hear people talking about the three curves of the spine. That's cool, you know, neck, thorax, and low back. But, you know, we're getting thorough down here, so we're talking about the sacrum as well. So, ways to talk about the curves of the spine. You've got this, like I said, you've got this inward curve and this outward curve. Down here, we're going to start with the lumbar curve here, because this is one that you're going to see a lot. The lumbar curve, that inward curve this way, is called a lordosis, L-O-R-D-O-S-I-S, lordosis, 7th grade spelling bee. And you normally want a little bit of a curve here in your spine, because that, again, it helps, you know, it helps counterbalance the backward curves of the thorax and the sacrum, but it also, that four-part curve also gives us a little springiness. Yes, I am sitting on a giant stability ball. It gives us a little springiness so that our spine can absorb impact as we walk, because we are upright critters. So, curve in, curve out, curve in. This curve in is called a lordosis, again, L-O-R-D-O, L-O-R-D-O-S-I-S, yes. Little curve is normal. Sometimes we get too much curve, and that's what's called a hyperlordosis, a hyperlordotic curve. So that's when you have problems. You know, when you see somebody who's really got that sway low back, and you're like, okay, that doesn't look too comfortable. And that is just because they've got, you know, for whatever reasons, and there's a ton of reasons. We'll get into this. We'll get into this later on this week. If you're in the Facebook group, and if you're not, get in there right now, because it's gonna be really cool. Later on this week, we're going to be doing a challenge about posture and about body position, so I'm going to get even more into that. So, if you get too much of a lumbar curve, then you have problems, because that throws off everything. It throws off your balance. So here, this upper back here, this is a kyphosis, K-Y-P-H-O-S-I-S, a kyphotic curve, your thoracic curve, that's reverse curve coming out. And you can have a hyperkyphosis as well if you have a hunched back. So you want to have a reasonable amount of kyphosis, a reasonable amount of lordosis. And you'll also notice that those curves are mirrored in the sacrum and in the cervical spine and the neck spine. So the cervical spine, this neck spine up here, also has a lordotic curve, lordotic lumbar spine. So that one matches the lumbar spine. It's a lordotic curve. And here, the kyphotic curve of the thorax also matches the sacral curve. So the sacral curve has a kyphosis as well. So kyphosis, lordosis, kyphosis, lordosis. There it goes. So that is our four parts of the spine. Now, one more thing before I go, we're going to talk about the numbers of vertebrae, partly because it's useful to know when you're talking about the body, and you're going to hear, oh, C1 or C7 or T12 or T7, you know, L5, S1, and you're going to say, huh? But since you've watched this video, you're going to know what those mean. So your cervical spine up here, those would be the C vertebrae. And those are, you have 7. I don't have 7 fingers in this hand, so 7 vertebrae. 7 up here, then you have 12 down through the thoracic spine here, 5 in the lumbar spine, and 5 more in the sacrum. So the sacrum actually does have vertebrae. It's just that they all fuse to make this one bone, the sacrum. So how you remember that? Because you're like, oh, 7, 5, 1, huh? Up here in, so first you have seven cervical vertebrae, cervix being Latin for neck. So it's named after the neck. That cervix down there is also named after the neck because it's the neck of the uterus. So cervical spine, cervix of the uterus. Kind of cool, yeah? So 7 cervical vertebrae because you have breakfast at 7, 12 thoracic vertebrae, lunch at 12, 5 lumbar vertebrae, dinner at 5. Fine, you know, you go to college and then like that dinner time is insanely early. And then you have pizza at 5 a.m. down here at the in the sacrum. I don't know, I just made that up right now. But 5, and then you just, this is 5 more, and you just kind of have to remember that. Or pizza at 5 a.m. There we go. So breakfast at 7, lunch at 12, dinner at 5, pizza at 5 a.m. So that's 7 cervical vertebrae, C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 12 thoracic vertebrae, T, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 5 lumbar vertebrae, L1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when we talk about the sacral vertebrae, we use the same system. So it'd be S1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when you're talking about nerve outlets, excuse me, which we will later on, then we'll talk about the nerves that come out between various vertebrae. We'll start referencing like, oh yes, the C5 outlet, which is always named for the vertebra above it. Don't take me seriously on that, because I always forget it, and they come with a really cool mnemonic and bring it back to you. Okay, so stay tuned both on the both in the Facebook group and here on the email list. The email list is going to get kind of busy in September, so it'll calm down if you're like, oh my God, look at all these emails. It will calm down. You can just delete the ones you're not interested in. But there's going to be some great stuff coming up, so I highly recommend you at least peek at the emails. We'll be talking a lot about posture, about injury, about body parts, as always, and about how much fun anatomy is in a really cool way. So get ye out there, enjoy your anatomy, and I will see you online, on email, or any other wonderful place. Enjoy your anatomy, and I will see you out there on the interwebs.